Hello, 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 and welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage and the Monday night live stream with our YouTube community. You know, I've been doing this, close to a year now that I've been doing these live streams on Monday nights. And of course, I've been doing them on Thursday afternoons as well. But this one has grown. We keep getting, some great feedback and great questions and different things brought up throughout the live stream. So if you're new to this and you haven't seen this before, basically I try to answer questions that may be brought up regarding, classic cars or whatever generalization type questions we may have. And if I can't answer them, I ask for the people. I should point, I guess, that way. I ask for help from the group in our chat box on the other side here. I get on my right. I guess I don't know how that works. Anyway, I guess it's on the right as you look at it as well. But anyway, we try to get answers to questions or advice or different things and help out each other in that sense. So it's been a good thing. It's been growing. And I want to give a shout out to my moderators. I've had some conversations with several of my moderators that have been helping me out with this, and they're doing a great job. Occasionally we get, some riffraff in here that wants to just make a mess of things, and my moderators click, 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 get rid of them, and that helps out a ton. And for the most part, I don't even see it. I've had conversations and they tell me about it. So thank you. You know who you are. Okay. So one of the things I want to bring up real quick off the top of the page here is Bob Noel, or Noel, however you want to say it. I think in the last live stream, I don't know if it was on Thursday or Monday, he had a problem with his power steering pulley and trying to press it onto his pump. And he kept thinking there was a problem with the pulley. And I pointed out it's not always the part. Sometimes it's the tooling. And so he pointed out here, he says, I took your advice and I changed the tool I was using and went and rented one. My pulley is on my power steering pump now. Thanks for the good advice. See, that's how it works. So sometimes it's not always a matter of whether the part is right or wrong. It could be the tooling or the equipment you're using could be right or wrong as well. And we resolved that problem for Bob. So that's awesome. And let's see here. Gordon Cahoon. Frosty's alive and well in Syracuse, New York. Well, that's good to hear. Hindsight 6-7, Roger. Greetings from next door. Glad you're here. Crash Rider, hello from Southern Indiana. Glad you're here. Andrew, Grease Rookie Garage. Hello, hello, hello. 428 Power. Howdy, howdy. Dave Conville, good evening from one of the Daves. Chris Greenaway is grabbing his coffee. BK Woods, hi guys. Nandu, hi Barry and everyone. Dave Britton, us Daves are taking over. Revstoration, hello Barry and crew. Jerry from Middle Tennessee, snowy Middle Tennessee. Well, it's not snowing here, but it's raining and cold. So I'm okay, I guess, with that rather than having snow. Len Ekema, glad you're here. I hope I said that right. I know it's hard to say. I know we said it right when we did the viewers projects. I hope I said it right. Dave Britton, resistance is futile. You will be a Dave. Standing Boy, hello from Southern California. Glad you're here. Warren Witten, checking in. Ronald Bell. Hey, Barry, checking in from Northeast Tennessee. Chris, have you seen a decrease of value on cars? Beacons on and cars are going for less. I have not. I typically don't keep up with the auctions or what may or may not be the value. I really haven't kept up with it. Harvey, Rally Cat Garage, glad you're here. Bob Shoemaker, evening from Oklahoma. Terry Keithley, just tuning in. Cooter Lev, hello from another Okie. Darren Powell, good morning from Southern Australia. Glad you're here, Darren. John Lausen, yo from Canada. That's a new name. I haven't seen you here before, John. Glad you're here. 428 Power, are you going to put any graphics or stripes on Jade? I've thought about it. I've talked it over with my boss, and she said no stripes. She doesn't like stripes on cars. She doesn't want any graphics on it. She just doesn't she doesn't like it. So, not to say that I couldn't experiment a little bit, because I've done it before where I put ghost stripes on one of my trucks. Put ghost stripes on the hood. So I don't know if I might experiment. I might not. I don't know yet. I'm thinking of different ideas that I could use. And, ghost effects are really just adding a little more X. Some of it could be adding a little pearl, adding just a little tiny bit more color to that existing color, laying out, some sort of a stripe, spraying it on, and then you only see it, at certain angles and stuff like that. So I'm maybe considering something like that. But at this point, no. Jorge checking in from cool New Jersey. Jim Healy, Orange Park, Florida. Glad you're here. Leonard checking in from the warm and dry high desert. You're making me jealous, Leonard. And at least at this time of year. No, at this time of year. Chris chiming in for what it's worth from Midwestern Ontario. Okay. Oh, cold New Jersey, Jorge says. Okay. It said cool. So maybe your word thing, as it comes up with the words you type in, it creates its own. Blue Healer, howdy from warmish Northern Nevada. Glad you're here. Robert Adams checking in. Dave, the sea stripe is so nice. Yeah, it is. It is. I just think that, if my boss lady says no, I'm going to probably go that route. I've had visions of doing like two tones. I like paint the upper half one color and the bottom half another color, stuff like that. But at this point, no stripes. Robert, no leftover ribs. I guess that's a good thing, right? I guess. Chris, thank you, Barry. You're one of the best body guys I've seen on YouTube. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Mike's Mustang Stroker. Good evening, Joe Daddy and all. Well, glad you're here, Mike. I don't know if I've seen that name before. I think I would remember that one. But glad you're here. Jack W. checking in. I hope you're making some progress on the fastback. I hope. Haven't heard or seen anything, but I'm hoping you're making some progress. Randy, gold reflective sea stripe with Gulfstream Aqua will make the car pop. Gold reflective. Yeah, I like the idea, but I'm not completely in charge of this one. Not completely in charge. I have to keep her happy with the car as well. So we'll see. Len, have any of you guys from Canada seen any Mercury M100s? They're Mercury's version of the Ford F100. So that's a rare sighting, I would say, to find an M100. Chris, yeah, a couple in our cruise-ins. So he's responding to Len. Dave is saying he has as well. Dave Conville, a ghosted sea stripe would be different and only noticeable to those really looking. Yeah, and that's where I'm on, how I want to pull this off if I do it. Because, she doesn't watch my live streams, so she doesn't know that I'm even talking about this. But I thought about the idea of either doing stripes on the hood. I don't know about on the roof, and I'm just kind of up in the air on it. But on the sides, that might be interesting. And I could just put a little, like I said, you just add a little bit of material just to catch the light and go, oh, wait a minute, there's something there, And I think it's kind of a neat look. Marshall checking in from the north side of Atlanta. I want to let you know, Marshall, I contacted my friend, but I have not heard back. So we'll find out eventually. Jack, not at all working on my truck bed. Very soon, though. Okay, well, good. Leonard, Barry, keep an eye out. I've sent you something. Oh, okay. All right. Maybe, okay, so you sent me something in the mail, I assume. Because I don't see it in email. So I'm assuming it's something in the mail. Sounds good. BK Woods, happy wife, happy life. Yeah, that is true. Grease Rookie, Andrew, deciding on a paint job starts with joyful excitement and descends into confused agony. It can be that way. It can be that way, that's for sure. Mike's Mustang, yeah, it was Mike's Mustang, but seeing someone else had that one, so I added Stroker. Yeah, very good content and skills. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for that. Kuderlev, you should tell the wife you will put a C-stripe on the car if you darn well want to. Then out loud say whatever you want, dear. Yeah. Yeah. Pete Brown, notice your Wilton Vice. I own its big brother and wondering if you find the manufacture date on yours. You know, I haven't looked for a manufacturing date. I guess they put them on there. I don't know. I haven't paid any attention to that because I actually have two Wilton Vices. I have my red one on this bench, and you may not be able to see it, but there's another one on that bench right there. That one I used in the video that I did the pulled the mini spool out of the Ford 9-inch that's in Jade. So I pulled the mini spool out and I used that vise over there. But I haven't even considered looking for a date code. So I guess they have them. I don't know. Okay, Leonard, cool. 428 power M100 is going for big money. I'll bet they are. Crash Rider, you would never see any ghost painting on the roof. Right. That's what I'm saying. It's not really worth the effort. Unless you're, some basketball player. It would be really hard to see that. So, but I kind of like I haven't thought about doing a C-stripe in Ghost. That might be interesting. It's going to, I could buy, I've seen people do it this way where you buy like a stripe kit, put it in place, and then mask it, and then pull the stripe kit off, then spray, so you sacrifice a stripe kit to make it look right. So, yeah, that might be something I could look into. I don't know yet. Chris, any Mercury is a rare sight. Try looking for a Meteor, a Canadian-made brand. Been looking for a 68-meter Lemoyne convertible, 115 made with 428 FE. My dad is kicking himself. I'll bet. I will bet. Rick Stevenson is checking in from Puerto Rico. I'm glad you're here, Rick. Pete Brown, my Wilton made in 1946. Date is on the slide tube in the keyway. Okay. He's on a slide tube. So does that mean you have to take it all the way out? Is that what that means? Take it all, like uncrank the jaw all the way out and see what it is? I would think mine are newer than that, but I don't know. Nick, checking in. Glad you're here, Nick. Uh-oh, you did a thing. Well, you have to tell us what you did, Nick, because it sounds like you're not in jail. So that's good. That's good. That's a good sign. Oh, wait. Emptied my bank account, basically. Uh-oh. What did you buy, Nick? Did you find one of those cars you were looking for on Facebook Marketplace? If so, I apologize for bringing that up. Because I know I've mentioned that there were several on there, or different ones that I'd seen. Chris Greenaway, AAR Cuda Stripe style where it fades would be cool. Yeah, that might be interesting. Pete Brown, yes. Okay, well, I don't think I'm going to do it right now, but maybe I'll remember it for next time. Rusty's Mustang Garage, just stopping by. Glad you're here. Marshall, thanks for reaching out to your friend. My goal in 2021 is to get this thing on the road. It won't be pretty, but we'll be moving, I hope. Well, here's another thought, Marshall. I don't know. We conversed about building a 302, and I assume you're going to stick with that, which is fine. But I've got a 351 block sitting on the other side of Jade. I have no use for it, but it's got a crank and stuff in it. Maybe it would be usable. I don't know, but if you're going to 302, that's good. That's good. Len, I may be in the market for an M100 fixer-upper. Yeah. Well, if you can find them. Bob. Barry, I had to go somewhere, come back, and now I'm here. I want to say thank you again. Good advice. You're welcome, Bob. Yeah, I mentioned that early in the stream about the pulley deal. Because we all get caught up in some of these things. And it could be putting a pulley on a power steering pump. It could be a variety of pieces and parts. And we all know sheet metal and all that stuff. It's all going to be a struggle to make it fit. But when you get to a mechanical part, that's when it becomes difficult. Because there are times I've had more than just, like in this case, the pump. I've had mechanical parts that didn't fit the car or didn't, and I had to do things to modify it or change how I made the approach. But I'm glad it all helped, Bob. Nick, no, I just bought my motor, which is sad to say. Probably worse than buying one of those cars. I didn't even pay for all of it, really. I don't feel like talking about it, what I spent already. Okay. I understand, Nick. I do. I understand. Yep. Let's see. I feel it in the wallet area. Yeah. Yeah. I understand. I do. Anyway, let me get to talking about some things here as we move forward. I haven't started on the dash area. I mean, I've removed the dash pad and windshield. We talked about that before, but I haven't started on the underside of the dash just yet. I'm still finishing up a little bit of the transition, as I talked about with the body panels, where I'm using a little filler and dressing the transitions to make sure they're real nice and smooth. I'm finishing that up on the passenger side front door, and I'm really just probably 30 minutes away from being finished with that. Also, I'm filling in, taking care of the holes where the trim would have gone on the car, because I'm not adding the trim back to it. So I'm taking care of those holes. And then I was looking around. There's another thing I need to address on the fender, on the driver's fender. I was looking at my emblems and stuff. I have 289, the Ford 289 badging, and then the Mustang script, which, in a way I wish, I'm going to use it anyway, but the 68 has, cursive Mustang. I'm not really a fan of that, but I can't make myself go to like the 67 where it's individual letters. I like the crisp, clean letters. I don't like the cursive, but it's how they came, and I'm not going to go backwards and make it something else. But I still have to transfer make the holes in this fender, because when I first started on the car and it had that patch panel that I cut out and replaced and repaired, one thing I needed to do was make sure, which I didn't do at the time, but I need to make sure now, before I go to paint, make sure everything fits before you go to paint, because you might be kicking yourself later when something doesn't match up and you're struggling. So that's something I need to take care of, and make a template or something to get the emblems on the fender. Once I get those couple little things taken care of, which I will start tomorrow, working on the underside of the dash, the cowl. I'm going to clean that up, paint it, make sure it's all sealed up and everything. And then probably, I don't know that I want to test fit the AC box just yet, or if I want to just go ahead and put it in my kill mat, because it's not thick enough to make a difference in where the box is going to sit. So sorry. So I will probably just install the kill mat at least on the passenger side and work as far as I can to the driver's side. And then, of course, get the AC box in place. But that's where I'm at on the stages of the car right now. Chris says, Nick Moss, boys and their toys. I agree. Every time I replace an interior part, my eyes go to what's ugly next. Yep. Eliminate all the ugly if you can. Robert Adams, my cars don't need no stinking badges. Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm kind of torn, because I don't know that I want to put the badging on the car, But then again, if I don't put anything on the car, then it's all there's really nothing on the sides except for mirrors and door handles, because it's not going to have the lower trim. So I kind of want to have that little badging deal just to break it up a little bit. And then the other idea that I'm toying with, because this was a 289 car from what I gather, but I have a 302 in it. So I'm thinking I might order a set of 302 badges. Why not? I mean, it's not a 289. It's not original. So, I could go either way with it. But that's where it's at. Let's see. Nick says, I know, Chris, I need cheaper toys. I feel like I'm working for that pile of emblems and metal. Bob, on my 67 Mustang, I like, I guess, the 68 grill a whole lot better than a 67. Okay. Harvey, our original 68 Mustang 302 jumped a timing chain tooth last week. I forgot that Ford used an aluminum plastic-coated timing gear. Beware of them. Now have an all-steel comp cams timing set installed. Yeah, I don't know if that was considered a phenolic material. I think they called it. I could be wrong. I was thinking it was phenolic, but there's probably some other trade name for the plastic. Maybe it's not phenolic. There's some other name for it. They use that a lot, and the GM used them as well. Just ugh. Nick, I love the 289 badges on the 65, 66 cars. Classy. Yep. Let's see, Chris. I know the decals for my Formula is around $400 for a vinyl guy to cut it. Kit is $175, but it's missing the tail fin stripe and grill stripe. Yep. Got to pay to play, right? Marshall, I put a later model dual master on my 65. How can I be sure that I have the proper stroke at the brake pedal? Can it be too short? Now it stops at the floor, not bottoming out master. That's a good question. I believe the pedal stroke, like when I put the power brakes into Jade, I had to change the pedal itself. So I don't know if you're still using the manual brakes pedal, and if there's an adapter or something that has to go with it, I don't know. But I know in this case, when I put the CSRP brake system in, I had to change out the pedal because it relocates or changes the throw of the push rod. So you may have to look into that a little bit more. Unless somebody else has some advice for Marshall on that, that's probably the best I can do. Nick, I can't eliminate all of the ugly. I'd never be able to sit in it. Well, I'm hoping, I'm going to make this car look so good that nobody even notices me. That's my goal. I want them to notice the car. They don't even know who's driving it. They don't even see the guy driving it or anything. They just see the car. Chris, my Formula would be the ultimate sleeper. Everyone walks up and asks, is it the 6-cylinder? Huh. Interesting. I guess I never even thought about them making the 6-cylinder version of the Formula. Yep. Leonard, the only badge that's going on my Torino is Gran Torino Sport, and that's it. That sounds reasonable. All right. So, Bob, timing gears were nylon. That's it. Well, they were nylon. They like it because the intake valves, they like to kiss the intake valves if it jumped very much. Yeah. Well, I was, when Harvey and I we had talked about this gear deal, when I was in high school, I had a 72 Chevy pickup truck that I talked about before, and it had the 307 engine in it. And, that truck had, I don't know how many miles on it, but it just kept right on running. And at some point, it started leaking oil, and I was thinking, where's it leaking oil from? I couldn't find the leak, and I kept looking at the valve covers, nothing there. The oil pan wasn't leaking, and where's this oil coming from? Well, the timing gear with that nylon junk on it had completely worn away. There was no more nylon on the gear anywhere. And the timing chain, it would never jump time. Surprisingly, it never jumped time. But without that gear on, that the chain, it slung out and it cut a groove in the timing cover on that Chevy small block. It cut a groove and it was leaking oil out of that groove. And I other than that, I would not even have known it had jumped or the gear had worn out. So in taking it all apart, I remember looking at that, and the teeth were on those gear. It was like razor sharp little nubs of teeth left. And I was like, oh man, this thing almost just trashed itself. But I swapped out. And in fact, what I did, being with Junkyard, I went up and found an engine that it got pulled out of something back, some sort of I don't even know what it was. It could be in a 60s something vehicle, but it was prior to when they made the nylon gears. And I found basically like a cast iron or steel gear, and I swapped those out, pulled it off of one of those old engines and put it on mine. It ran until it ended up being scrapped. So all good. Nick, nothing worse than stepping out of your car and it suddenly looks better. That's my goal. Let me get away from it. Everybody else just look at it and enjoy it. Let me get away from it. Leonard, I made a lot of money from those plastic cam gears and bent valve head jobs. I'll bet. That was a really bad idea. Footage Factory, Steve, are you back in the States? Did you make it back from Scotland? I know you went over there. Did you make it back? I don't know. I assume you're back. I don't know. I'm glad you're here, man. Glad you're here. Hope you, if you are back for whatever brief period of time, I hope you enjoyed your trip to Scotland. Chris, you know why they stopped making slant sixes? Because it wasn't profitable. One dart in the community has nearly 300,000 miles. Most bulletproof motor I've seen on one rebuild. I can't argue that. I cannot argue the Slant 6 was probably one of the toughest engines ever built. I talked about it before one of the streams. We had a Dodge, I don't know, Dart, Plymouth Duster, whatever it was. My dad bought at the auction one time, and we got it home, and it had the Slant 6 in it. Well, it was, we fired it up, it was running, but it was making a lot of noise. And we looked at, opened the hood or whatever, however we did it, had the hood open. And I believe it was a number, I guess it would be like 3 and 4 cylinder. The connecting rods were through the side of the block facing towards the driver's side. And they were just hanging out, no pistons on them. And there was a hole like this big in the side of the block. The thing kept running. So obviously we didn't do anything with it, but we had fun driving it around a little while, making all that noise. And then, put it in the junkyard, scrapped it. Robert, the plastic timing gear was done to reduce noise. I'll take reliability over being quiet. Well, that's also why we had offset wrist pins in the pistons, because they didn't want piston slap. That was another thing. They offset the piston, the wrist pin slightly, so that you wouldn't have, because if it was centered, it would actually make a slap. So from my understanding, that's why they did that as well. Reduce noise. Oh, you're in the UK. Okay. Midnight. All right. Well, I'm hoping you're finding something entertaining here on the live stream. So glad you're here, though. 225-6 with a bulletproof engine. Yep. They were tough engines. No arguing that. In fact, they used to use them. I think they used them like in tugs and stuff at the airports, smaller tugs, but just keep them running. And this is Wazers. I don't know how to say that. I'm guessing Wazers. My guess. Chris, what are modern cars missing in your opinion? Robert, they're missing a soul. Yeah, that's a good point. What are modern cars missing? right now, modern cars, they isolate us so much from the road, noises, the environment. Um, it's like when I had my 55 Chevy and I'm driving the rat rod. I mean, you were exposed to everything, all the rattles, all the noise, all the wind. And, it was just a whole different experience. So today, you get into a modern car and you shut the door and it's running. You put it in gear, you got this deluxe stereo system in it, deluxe AC, and all these features and knobs, and even the basic cars have a lot of super nice features in them. And so you're in this little pod, and it just keeps you away from everything out there. And that's the beauty of these older cars. Even though you can do a lot to help quiet things down, like Robert, he's putting like kill mat on all the panels. He's putting them inside the doors, in the quarter panels, floor, everywhere. I don't know if I'm going to go quite that far, but that's nice in some aspects, because now you can listen to the radio without having it crank super loud, different things like that. But it's just the isolation that you're away from everything when you're inside one of the new cars. Footage, Steve, just listening to you reminds me of home. Well, okay. I guess that works. Octagon, some thumbs up there. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it. Oh, Steve, I don't know if you saw it, man. Talked about it on my last live stream, I think. I have some new hats. These I'll point out because I have a new black one too. So if you remember, this was my first design of hat right here, right? First design. And then I had some made up, and it was this one right here. And if you look at that, it has a giant, they made the garage, really big, and Joe Daddy's not so big. And then they came up with this one. So now Joe Daddy's is more dominant and garage is smaller. So I haven't ordered these yet. I've gotten some good information, or good feedback on these hats. So I'm going to order some of these in both the trucker style and the black, and I'll do different colors as well. Anyway, Dave, Junkyard video. Who hunted down all the Studebakers, or did they naturally gravitate to the yard? Somebody must have had a soft spot for Studies. Yes, my dad. He started racing them. That's how the Junkyard started. My dad raced Studebakers at the local dirt track. In fact, the same dirt track that I showed in the Junkyard video is where he raced back in the 60s, and then it was shut down for a period of time. And then they opened it back up in the 80s, and both me, my brother, and my sister raced there, and my dad did some stuff there as well. But he raced Studebakers. Well, if you know anything about Studebakers, they have weak axles. The rear axles were not, well, they weren't built for circle track racing. I know that much. So the story here, let me do this. So I'll go into Junkyard story time now, Dave, since you brought it up. The story was he was racing whatever, a Commander, a Lark, I don't even know what the cars were, but he would race them and he would snap off the right rear wheel. He'd come out of the turn and punch it, and the wheel would snap off. So anyway, he started buying up Studebakers so that he could have replacement rear ends, or axles. One of the stories from the racing time, and at that time, was they had my dad, because he had a Studebaker wrecker, he had flatbeds, he had cars and trucks, every Studebaker he could find he bought. Well, at the time, my mom was driving a Lark, whatever, 63 Lark or something, and he had snapped the axle off. And so, but I forget where at in the sequence, whether it was a heat race or whatever, he snapped the axle off. He runs out to the parking lot. he pulled the axle out of my mom's car and stuck it in his race car, and then raced that night, and then had to take it back out and put it back in mom's car so that she could drive home. So there you go. Little junkyard story, but true story. Let's see where we're at here. Chris Lambert. Go, Barry. Love the hat. Thank you. I like him too. I mean, it's looking really good. FR34 was saying, "What's up? Glad you're here." Footage Factory. Oh, dang, I like the hat. I'd give you my address, but my lights keep getting canceled. My flights keep getting canceled and pushed back. So you're trying to get back to the States is what I'm assuming. If you're there in the UK, I don't know. I'm assuming you're trying to get back. Philip, the one you're wearing is the best. Thanks. Appreciate that. FR34, I'm good. Hope you are as well. Steve, I like the light colored hat. Yeah, this thing, a lot of people think it's gray, but it's really more of a green. And I plan on ordering like a variety of colors of this one, and then also of the solid hat, so I'll have a variety of colors available. And we'll see how that goes. If I get I'll order a bulk order, whatever. And if those sell out, I'll get more. We'll go from there and see how that works. Chris, I think they're missing persona and stuff like body lines, etc. We love the terrible build quality of these old cars. Four screws hold my console. Yeah, that is true. But some cars to me have too many body lines. Some of the Nissans and you look at it's got a fender transition line, and then a crease that intersects that fender transition line, and then there's another crazy line. So I think they lack quality body lines. They do a lot of these cosmetic subtle creases, but like this car here, you look at the body line on Jade and look how deep that thing is, that whole pocket. But the new cars, they don't have that. They don't have that kind of effect. 68 Stang, Reese. What's up, Joe Daddy Garage Squad? Glad you're here. Okay, that is a new name. Kwabena Obeng. I'm going to guess. Is that correct? Kwabena Obeng? You are a legend at what you do. From Danny. Okay, well, thank you, Danny. Appreciate it. And I'm guessing if you're saying that, you've got to be from Australia, because that's an Australian phrase, from what I gather. Leonard, Chris, I missed this. The seam lines, the chrome moldings. That, yeah, the chrome trim. Philip, Studebaker had a 289, but obviously not the Ford 289. I think that's fun when I see one. Yeah, they also had a 259. And the Ford 289 was a awesome engine. Dave, love the Junkyard story. Interesting. Thanks. You're welcome, Dave. There's all kinds of goofy stuff that went on up there. It's a Junkyard. It's kind of like a free for all in some aspects. Whenever I want to build something, or I want to, modify this or cut that, Chris, getting the 67 painted here. House of Color Red Candy. I need to remove my vinyl top. Any suggestions on videos or product to do this relatively cleanly and easily? No. I can tell you, anytime I've taken off a vinyl top, kind of just got a seam loose and just started pulling. Pull it off, and then you're left with all kinds of glue residue that you are going to struggle to get off. I don't know what people have used for that. There's you may end up sanding it off, So if it's the original stuff, it may be pretty tough and just have to be sanded off. So, and then you have to, are you putting a vinyl top back on? That's another question. Or are you going to straight to color? Because then you're going to have to probably do some body work to the roof to make sure it's smooth. All the way from Australia. Love your work, Danny. Thank you, Danny. I've got several people from Australia, which is always amazing to me. And not just Australia, but like I've talked about this before, people from around the world that check in, see my videos, or you know uh, watch them and just use them to help them out with their projects. So I always think it's amazing. Grease Rookie, the new Corvette has way too many body lines. That could be. That could be. I think he's talking to. I think Chris is talking to Leonard there. Octagon, British Racing green hat for me. I don't know if I have that color available or not. I am a fan of the green, though, so we'll see. We'll see what comes up. Jerry, I think the new cars use the body lines to increase the strength and the overall structure. In the old cars, they were much deeper. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It also does away with some of the oil canning. Like if you had a big panel, you put a body line in there to keep it from oil canning. So, Bad Harry checking in. Made it. Hi, all. Got lost in wire diagrams for my Coyote engine PCM. I'm glad you're here. Glad you are here. Okay. I had a question earlier in an email because I get emails, I get messages, I get all kinds of, social media stuff. And one of the questions was from Stallion Ranch Woodworks. And his question was, "Good day, sir. I have a question. What towels do you use for the wax and grease remover prior to shooting your epoxy? When reviewing different paint forms, it was all over the board on what people use. I would like your input." Well, that's a good question. And it's a good question to answer here, I assume, because, there's probably is a wide variety of what people use for that sort of thing. For me, what we found, like even at the body shop and talking to other paint people, Bounty paper towels is pretty much all I use. And the reason for that is they're a little bit better paper towel in a sense, and they don't come apart when you wipe across something, so they don't leave a lint trail. Now, not that I would be too overly concerned with the lint, because I'm going to go back and probably wipe it with a tack cloth anyway. But the Bounty paper towels seem to work fantastic. So if you're looking at using something to wipe it down, that may be a good option for you. Liam, how fast is that car? Are you talking about this car? I guess you're talking about this car. I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever know, because I don't plan to have. I don't know that I plan to do a top speed run on this car. I'm just building it to drive and enjoy. But it's got a 300 gear in it, so I'm going to assume, it'll do over 100 miles an hour, I'm sure. But I don't know that I'll ever take it that fast. Let's see. Chris, definitely going straight to color for the roof. Not a fan of vinyl. Mine is white. So annoying to keep clean too. Okay. Well then, yeah, you're gonna have some issues. Some issues. Now, I'll just tell you this as soon as I take a drink here. I'll tell you this: whenever you pull that roof off, consider that they didn't put as much effort into vinyl roof cars as they did a painted car or a painted roof. So I'm running into that issue myself, because the right rear, well, probably both trim pieces that finish out the roof panel would have normally overlapped some vinyl. And so up in the corner where the trim meets the roof, there's a little pocket. Now, some people may not worry about that. I do. I like to see the trim meet the body line and finish it out. But that's just one example where there was a little pocket where they didn't blend it smooth, add filler and smooth it out. I've also found little areas around the windshield frame where the trim would come up and meet the body line. If it had any kind of flaw there, the, at the factory, they like, we don't care. The vinyl's going to cover it up, So when you pull all that vinyl off, you may have to address some of those things. Just know that. And hopefully there's no corrosion or rust underneath it. That's always been a problem. Right out of the factory, they were, having problems with that, I think. Chris, white vinyl and cranberry red would be an awesome combo. Yeah, I could see that. I do like the black vinyl on a burgundy, deep red burgundy color. Amarante Detailing. Hey guys, I'm late, but I'm here. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're here. Nick, I have one little bothersome dent on my tail panel caved in towards the trunk. How would you dolly that with the curved surface? Hammer outside or inside? It's not deep. That's depends on where it's at, in the curve. Using a body hammer, and you could use a curved dolly, I would hammer from the inside and just gently try to get it out as much as you can. You're probably going to have to add some filler regardless. Just keep that in mind. But, there's really probably no real alternative other than going from the inside and working it up as much as you can. Hopefully, if you say if it's not very deep, you'll get most of it out, and then you'll have to coat it anyway. There's just probably no way around that. Robert, good question on paper towels. When cleaning blasted steel, you need good ones, as the surface will tear lint off the towels and coat the steel in lots of small lint. Yeah. Normally what I do, if I do some media blasting on a panel, pretty much before I ever even wipe it down with anything, I'm going to hit it with the DA. I just hit it with the DA and take off any of the residual little texture as much as I can, and then go forward from there. So, but yeah, it's, that's good. I felt like it was a good question to share as well. Let's see. David and Cheryl checking in. Just Cheryl. Glad you're here. Let's see. Mark, greetings from a new subscriber from Ireland. Ireland? Well, that's pretty cool. I don't think I've had anybody from Ireland before. So you get a bell for that. Yeah, I know we've had Denmark, we've had Sweden, the UK, or England, the UK. Yeah, what else we had? I know we've had Italy. But Ireland, that's pretty cool. Glad you're here. Nick, almost dead center. I bought a shrinking disc. If I can get it closer, I believe I could metal finish it. Kind of learning as I go, though. Okay, you're saying dead center of the curve, that is. Okay. Well, give it a shot on that shrinking disc and see what happens. I've not used one of those before, so I can't give you any advice on it. But I think a hammer would get probably, depending on how deep it is, get most of it out. Let's see. Chris, my painter, and I chatted about paint. He sighed when I mentioned it will be repainted black. He's really good, but all body guys apparently hate black. Not me. I don't hate black. I love black, because black shows how good your bodywork really is. So the guys that don't like it they're uncomfortable with their bodywork. The way I look at it. And I just, I guess when I approach doing the paint work, I envision everything being black, and that way I do the best I can to make it smooth. But I understand the concern. I understand. Robert, black shows all the body work. White hides it, and the paint is cheaper. That's true. What I don't like is the difficulty with white. Well, black is great for hiding body lines, in essence, because you lose it in the black paint. You don't really see the defined body lines. But white, on the other hand, boom, body lines, they're going to show up like magic. I mean, there's no way around it. You're just going to have body line. So if you have, it's kind of a trade-off in my mind. If you have the The black, you better have perfect body, but if it's white, you better have perfect body lines. Kind of how I look at it. Now, you go with something like the what was it, pewter? GM came out with that pewter color, and that color was great because like you didn't even have to wash it. Everything just blended in. I had my 2001 Chevy Silverado, and it had that pewter color on it. It didn't, it didn't matter if you washed it or not. It always looked the same. It kind of hid the body lines, and it was an easy color from that aspect. Yeah, I believe we did have somebody in France as well. Good point, Leonard. And I can't remember the name at the moment. But I think I'm pretty sure we had Denmark. And I don't know. I should maybe I should have a global map. And anytime somebody checks in, I have to find it, and put a little X and say, this guy's from here. Chris, he sighed, not because he can't do it, just because of double checking everything. Yep. Nick, I love that answer. My Lord, I love that answer. You're awesome, Barry. In reference to the guys not confident in their bodywork, mine won't be black. True craftsmanship answer there. Yeah. I mean, that's how I look at it. I have to think of everything is going to be, it's going to show up, whether I see it or somebody else sees it. Which reminds me, today when I'm over on the other side of the car, and I'm underneath and I'm sanding the filler holes, for the trim. And this was when me and my buddy started doing cars years ago, before even the body shop, when we were kind of doing stuff. He was spraying a car, and he had sprayed it, and he didn't get down low and spray underneath the quarter panel like in my opinion, like he should have. So he sprayed it, and I'm walking around, I'm looking at the car, and I'm like, well, you didn't spray the bottom of the quarters. His comment was, nobody ever looks there. And I said, well, I just looked there. So he's like, fine. Sprays the bottom of the quarter. I was thinking about that when I was working on the rocker panel. I'm like, nobody's going to crawl underneath this thing, but I know it's there, so I'm going to take care of it. Well, a year or so later, we were doing a car for somebody, and it was it was an early model, like a 60s, 70s car. And, he had sprayed it, and he sprayed under the quarter like he was supposed to. We did it all correctly, in my opinion. And the owner of the car had come, and the first thing he did, he got down on his knees and he looked under at that quarter panel, and he was like, well, good. Somebody finally did it right. So I just looked at my buddy, and I'm like, see? And see, that's the point. To me, you do it right or just don't do it. Paint included. So you don't skip a step. Don't, I guess, underestimate what people are looking for. Kind of overestimate, in my way I look at it. Make sure it's right all the way around. And then you don't have to worry about it later. So Adam, he says he needs help. He accidentally built a Jeep. Well, I don't know how long was this accident? That sounded like it was a long accident. It didn't just happen. Let's see. Cade. Hey, Barry, I just recently got my 302 in my 66 Mustang, and I'm having trouble with fitting my AOD transmission to the transmission mount. The mount hits the transmission. Any suggestions? Sure. Go back to Brooklyn Pony. Part, I don't know what it was, 50. Somebody else can look it up. I had the same issue when I put in the 4R70 transmission in the Brooklyn Pony. I built my own tranny mount. I had two of those, whatever brand they were, kind of looked like just curved pipe with brackets on them. They didn't work, and so I built my own. So I have videos on that. If you're interested in trying to build one yourself, and mine don't hit the tranny, and they also give you access to the tranny pan. So if you need to pull out the pan, you can do it without pulling the mount. So big improvement, in my opinion, over what the big guys have put out for us. So that would be my suggestion. Dave and Cheryl, our 64.5 is going back to burgundy metallic, its original color. That's cool. I like that. That'll be nice. Kevin Tressel. Hey, Barry. Hey, Kevin. Kevin. Okay. Name sounds familiar. Name sounds familiar. I can't tell by your picture, your little, but your name sounds familiar, Kevin. So, Nick, yep, always take pride in your work and make sure you don't overlook the important things and makes things easier on the next guy, which could be you. Exactly right. And that's, I had somebody comment on the transmission video that I did, putting in, having trouble getting the bolts in, and several videos of that process on the Brooklyn Pony. And he was like, just tilt the tranny down and put the bolts in. Well, sure. That sounds easy enough until you the whole suspension is involved with it. You just can't tilt it down. It's like he didn't watch the videos and understand the process. So anyway, I didn't say anything. I was like, well, if you don't understand what's going on, watch the video. And part of that too is the fact that the engine mounts that hold that engine, they don't pivot. You can't just lean it down and slide bolts in. So anyway, it gets complicated when you start adding in all these aftermarket things. Chris, a lot of car guys, things we do later or sell it to the next. I need a trunk pan because of crummy patch, not rusted, just ugly, stacked on top. Done back in the day. We know it's there. It festers in. Yep. Our brain. Then we fix it. Yeah, definitely. Chris, I think you had made a comment. We had talked about this. The build sheet. Somebody asked about the build sheet on the Mustang, and I know you had said, look under the gas tank. So bringing this up with the trunk pan, I don't know if you're familiar with how familiar you are with the Mustangs, but the gas tank is the trunk pan. Literally. I mean, there's a big hole in the floor, and the trunk pan the gas tank just sits in and bolts to the perimeter flange. So I don't know if because that's what I had said, the gas tank creates the trunk pan, and I'm 99.9% sure there was no way to put a build sheet between that flange and the trunk opening. So you're welcome, Cade. Kevin, I'm having trouble getting tri-Y headers fitting my AOD transmission. The pipes hit the tranny. Considering cutting and using V-bands. Any thoughts? Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question. I know that. Yeah, I can't say for sure what the best route is. And I don't know what your headers are. Are you just dedicated to the tri-Y setup, or have you considered other options? I know in the case of like this car behind me, I put in Summit brand headers, which are ceramic coated, and they were actually made by Patriot. I had no clearance issues, but of course I don't have that AOD transmission. The other headers that I put in the Brooklyn Pony came with the kit, and I don't think they actually had a name on them. It was something that was made for them. So, I mean, if you can do it and use the V-bands, if that works for you, I don't think it'd be an issue. But is there another option? I guess basically, is there ones that are already made that'll fit right in and do the job? Danny, I guess that's Danny, right? Hi, Barry. I bought, I guess, a 69 Mustang Cobra Jet and couldn't have done it or built. Okay, so built. You're missing a couple letters there, but I understand. I built a 69 Mustang Cobra Jet and I couldn't have done it without all the incredible, helpful, detailed videos you put on your channel. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. And not to I don't know, transition very hard into other things. But because of that conversation right there, a lot of I've had a lot of people or several people join me on the Patreon, which has been awesome. And so, as we talked about before with revenue and different things like that, and I've had people approach me and say, "Hey, how can I help, or how can I, repay some effort in this?" If you're at all interested and you want to, be part of it, you can join Patreon, or there's other ways you can do it. But I've had several people join me on Patreon because, on this live stream, I showed it on one of my videos at the end of the year. I've had several people give me super chats and stuff like that, which has been fantastic. That's fantastic. And it bumped up my revenue for December. Well, that's only a bump for that month. It doesn't like continue. It just like, and then everything goes back downhill. So, as I continue to do this, not that I'm begging by any means, but if you're looking for ways to help out, that's ways you can help out. So I'm glad my videos have helped you out, Danny. Kevin, my uncle used to coach for Ohio State. Oh, only kidding. Tressel. You know what? I worked with somebody named Tressel. Now you got me thinking. What was his name? I think it was Mike Tressel. I'm pretty sure I worked with somebody named Tressel when I worked at Delta. So, Nick, hey, I'm going to send you a picture of my wheels. You'll get a laugh because I remembered when we talked about drawing the car with wagon wheels. I have $6,000 wagon wheels now. $6,000 wagon wheels. What? All right. I'm going to download these because you sent them to me. So I'm going to download them and I'm going to pop them up here. Let me see if I can get them up here quick. 6,000. That's okay. I don't think I've ever paid that for a car. So we're going to take a look at Nick's wheels here. Let's have a look. So here's, oh yeah. Oh no, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Let's look at this one. Yeah. That's a nice wheel. I don't know who makes them. But wow, that's a pretty nice wheel, Nick. Now, are those one-offs, or something you designed, or because I don't know. You can let us know whenever we get back to this. Rick Stevenson, cross member, was episode 44 for Brooklyn Pony. Well, thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. Can't unsee it. Yeah. I don't know if I have those. I don't know if I still have that picture. Where was that at? I might have probably deleted it. Where I had a picture of I think one of my sons had drawn a long time ago. Then we had wagon wheels and stuff like that. Let's see, Leonard, and he did a 4.0 job on that mount. Thank you, Leonard. Thank you for that. Chris, I realized that after I typed that I'm used to my mid-size GM cars. Oh, okay. Dave, talking about how the gas tank is the Mustang floor here. Have you ever seen the rear seat firewall pieces? I think they are a good idea. You're talking about like in a divider between the seat itself and the gas tank area or the trunk area. I think there's something like that in the Jade car, but it's not metal. It's almost like a fiber board of some sort. But yeah, it's a good idea to have something between those. Rear end collision stops the gas tank from pouring into the passenger compartment. Okay. Yeah, I haven't researched those, but it is a good idea. Adam, you got recommended to me from nowhere, and I just looked up your content. You got some amazing stuff going there. Keep up the great work. New sub. Awesome. Thank you, Adam. That's a different name. Adam. I'm not even going to try it. I'll just say Adam. Good. I'm glad there's some recommendations going out there that are getting other people to come to the channel. That's awesome. Chris, we took out the back seat and mine was right there, perfectly legible. Yeah, but you have a really nice car that hasn't been like put through a lot of owners from what I'm gathering. You know, I'm sure this car's been apart. If it had, I think this car had like 8 paint jobs on it. I think. So that tells me it's been cycled many times. So you know how that goes when somebody's redoing things. Bad Harry's, you have 100 watching, only 40 have thumbs. Come on, guys, don't forget to like. Thank you, Bad Harry. 68 Cougar. Hey, Barry, good evening. Do you have a timeline to get base coat clear coat on a Jade? Can't wait to see those videos. You know, the timeline I'm shooting for, and I can't commit to 100% saying it's going to happen because weather conditions are going to be my biggest restriction right now. I would like to have it in paint by the end of this month. Now, whether that actually happens or not, I don't know. I'm almost completely done. I'm probably 99% done with any of the body work that I need to do. Obviously, I need to get the front end back into, 2K primer. And I'm actually going to I'll sand down the whole car again, go over the body lines, go over the panels, and probably spray the whole car in another coat and then sand it one more time so it's ready for paint. But if I can pull it off, it'll be by the end of this month. Again, weather is going to be my restriction. I don't want it raining and wet and cold and stuff like that. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Good question. Yeah. Yep. Hit the thumbs up, David Sherrill. Yes. Doug Pinzer, what do you recommend for undercoating underside of a 66 Mustang with like a finish and durability like the BBW undercoating or BMW undercoating? Thank you. Well, that's a good question. For like the Brooklyn Pony car, I have a lizard skin kit that is for that car. I've heard good things with lizard skin. I think we used it once at the body shop. And, I think it works. There are other options out there. There's also a tougher coating would be like the bed liner stuff. Obviously, it's a more complicated, depending on what you're using, because they make some that's like a sprayable that you could spray at home type of bed liner stuff. That could work. For me, being in Georgia, I'm fine with like the 3M sprayable undercoating, because I don't get the tough weather conditions that other states get. So, that works for me. And that's typically what I use on my cars. So if anybody else has any other input on undercoating, by all means, share it with Doug so he knows as well. Yes. Thank you, Leonard. I was thinking that there was, I know I had somebody else ask me a question earlier in the week, and maybe that's what I should do. Maybe that's what I should start doing, is saying, hey, if you have a question, maybe you should just email it to me, and then I can also use it on the live stream, because here we are, we have questions and going on the side, which is great, but I could also maybe have a little database of questions that I could throw in. Like here's an example that I had a question this week. And it says, the question was, on the Brooklyn Pony, have you mocked up the shifter yet? And if so, did you use the original floor shifter or something from 2001-ish? If you use the original, it says PNE, what linkage did you use, or did you fab one? And that is a great question, but not a question I have an answer for. I've researched it somewhat, and I found some websites where people have done the conversion, and they used like a later model linkage of some sort to make the 4R70W transmission work. So I don't have a great answer for him, and I told him that. I said I haven't fabbed anything up, and I don't know what the approach is. I really don't, because it's not something that's it's not gone that far along to have that taken care of. So that was just one of the questions I had this week. What was the other one I had? Oh, there was some photographs I had received that I was going to share last week that they did not make it up because the gentleman I don't think he was on the stream. So I'm going to share them this week. And let me clear this here. And this, let me get a good there. So the first question is, does anybody know what that car is? That's a good little question. Somebody respond and let me know if they know what that car is. When I get a chance to have a drink of coffee. So, and I'm not seeing any input. It's nobody here. Are we still live? I guess that's the question. Anyone? See, I don't know what's going on. There's like nobody showing up. Well, are we still going? My timer says we're still going. I'm gonna put up another picture, and y'all can look at this picture real quick. And I'm gonna go grab my phone and find out if we're still live or not. So have a look at that picture. Okay, I'm back, but I don't know if we're still streaming. Hang on a minute. What's going on here? What's going on with my stream? Because I'm not seeing anything. I hope we're still live. Okay, well, thank you, Robert. Robert says I'm still on. I don't know what's going on. I see 101 people viewing. Anyway, okay, I ran to the house and grabbed my phone because I didn't have it with me. Let me point this out. I don't know why there's no comments showing up. There's nothing going on the side. So I'll continue on and just kind of wait for people to catch up, I guess. This car is a Crosley. And I'll tell you, it is here we go. It's a 1952 rust-free Crosley Super Sport. And this is from John. And he says he stripped it, blasted the frame, cleaned or replaced every nut and bolt, then epoxy primed the body. Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on. I'm getting confirmation that there's still chats going on, but right now there is nothing on the side screen here. It's showing the last input I have is from Leonard. That's the last input we have. So I don't know what's going on. Oh man. I don't know if I could, let me see if, I hate to do this, but let me see if I need to reload this thing. Let me see if I don't know what will happen. I haven't tried this before. I don't know how else to do it. I'm kind of leery about it. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I lost everybody. It still says I'm running. I don't know what the comments are. I've never had this happen before. Okay. Apparently there's tons of chats going on and I don't see them. Let me do this. I put a chat on there. Yeah. Gosh, I don't know what's going on. So I can't respond to anything. I don't have anything going on that I can see. Yeah, everybody's saying that I'm there. All my buddies are commenting that I'm here, but okay. This is confusing. All right. Well, unless somebody could try to send me a private chat. There's a little box that says private chat. Why is it doing that? There's absolutely nothing on here. So anyway, I'm going to go back and finish talking about this Crosley. When he first got it, is the first picture. The second picture was frame rebuild. Frame rebuild. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I had my wife come in and give me her phone with the chat going on it. So, and I think Roger had mentioned coming over. So I don't know. We're kind of playing it by ear at the moment. All right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But let me go back up here. So I did post what kind of car is that, and oh gosh, there's a whole bunch going on. I seen Wing Warriors checked in. I don't understand it. That is the first time I've ever seen this.
Hey gang.
Hey gang, Roger's here. So, I don't know what you could. I've got you want your phone back? Okay. Okay. So let me do this. What do you have available?
My phone.
Okay. Oh gosh. I mean, there's a ton of stuff going on. All right. So anyway, this is a Crosley, and here it is after he stripped it all down and started rebuilding it. And then there's the chassis, which I think is pretty cool. You look how simple that is with the little build that they have going on. And there it is. I guess I don't know if that's the color he's going to go back with. Epoxy primed, he says. And then the last image I have is he's doing a cutaway of the engine. I think he bought the cutaway. It's a Crosley Display Cobra 10 block cutaway, 2 years so far that he has had that. So, okay. Now we're going to have to try to figure this out because Roger's here from next door. He can stick. Come on in. So Roger's Roger's here. So let me see if we can. There's a step stool over there. You just want to slide in, or there's a stool. There's a chair in the back in the paint booth.
Yep.
It's probably dusty though. Okay, so we're just gonna have to play this by ear right now. Maybe I don't have a hide chat option. Let me look. I don't have anything that says hide chat. Settings. No. I don't have anything that says hide chat, so I don't understand what's going on. Okay. So Now I'm seeing. Okay, so now I've got a delay going because I'm now seeing Roger's phone with the thing. What is it doing? I've never had this happen. Never, ever, ever. All right. Okay. So let me see what I can get caught up on some of these questions here. This is a mess right now. Try chat pop out. Try hiding the car pic. Well, I've done all that. I don't see any options here because my chat showed up where I say it. No, because I posted this one and it came up fine. So, tons of replies. All right. So let's get caught up. Dave Britton, Crosley was the only car you could order from Sears. Good comment there. Everybody's off. Nuts and Bolts says your computer's locked up. It's got mechanic-itis. This may be a meme live streaming ending. Dave Conville, where'd all the Daves go? Let's see. Dave and Cheryl says hello. Let's see. KG, you could also get the Allstate at Sears. That was one of the comments that I've seen. Get out and listen. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I have to get some input from Roger here. He's monitoring. I don't know what
you tapped on someone's name.
Oh, oops. I don't want to do that. Dave Conville says the Allstate was Sears rebranding of the Henry J. I didn't hit hide chat. I don't know. Yeah, I don't read you from another device, Amarante, but now I am. I'm using Roger's phone. Trying to get this caught up. Nick, I don't like this. How do I know you're not making fun of me on that side? Try chat. Dave saying try chat pop out. I don't even have, because what I have here, I can do private chat, I can do comments, banners, but there's nothing I've done different. No, nothing I've done different.
It's just not there.
It's just not there. It's just not there. Okay, so I'm going to keep going through here. David and Cheryl, we see you now. Okay. Did you alter the browser size? No. I haven't changed anything. In fact, I did a reloop on it, and nothing changed. Let's see. I'm not using OBS, Amarante. I'm using StreamYard, and I've never had a problem with it before. So, it's just me. Says Crosley cars are cool. I agree with that. Clark Clifford, 2 more spot welds in that phone will fix it. Okay. Crash, I believe your computer has been hacked by the Russians or maybe China, but you're in big trouble now. Yeah. Marshall, awesome to have nice neighbors. Bell for Roger. Sure. Doug Pinzer seeing photos of Crosley. Yes. Winged Warrior. And to think we will all be dependent on artificial intelligence soon. I feel safe. Yeah, not. Chris Greenaway press comments. Pedro Fernando from Brazil checking in. Okay. All right. So I think we're caught up, at least for the most part, on the conversation. Initially I had my wife come out and pull up the chat. And now again, Roger's here, so he gets to he can maybe read me the question if we have something pop up, and we can try to go from there. This is kind of different, but I'm glad you're still here. We got 101 viewing. What else are we going to do on a Monday night, right?
Leonard says, "Do what they did in No Time for Sergeant. Spit in it and whoop it a good one."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just it. There's nothing that I can click on that changes anything. I mean, if I click on the StreamYard banner and it pops up.
Clicks in comments and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I can click on my comment where I said hello, and that was at 8:15 that I did that. Doesn't make sense. I can go to brand and I can click on pictures on and off, and I click on private chat, which that's only for like individuals to join the, and I click on settings. See, no ban is play a sound when guests enter. I didn't know I could do that.
Clark says, "Are you sure you weren't riding a cart and flipped it? And this is all just a dream."
Yeah, maybe I crashed my dune buggy. Maybe I crashed my dune buggy, and we're in the Matrix now.
Winged Warrior was asking how you run a live stream.
Oh, well, I mean,
apparently we're not doing it very well.
Well, not tonight, but the way it works is the program I'm using is called StreamYard, and that's their logo right there. In the past I have used OBS, but I've been using StreamYard, and it's really not that complicated. I can invite guests on and do different things by sending links and stuff like that. And whenever it's linked directly to my YouTube channel. So whenever I start the stream, it kicks it onto YouTube and then goes from there. So now I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So we're going to sit here. Roger's going to be my prompter.
The Infernal Craftsman said StreamYard probably lost the connection to the YouTube comments.
Probably, because it wouldn't make sense otherwise.
DP says somebody buy a Bitcoin for Barry so he can buy his data back.
Yeah.
Clark Clifford says jiggle the handle.
Jiggle the handle. I do the wire test, right? Ford has a wiggle test. That's in their manual. The first thing you do is wiggle. Oh, look. It just popped up.
Yeah, we're not the team you asked for, but we're here.
It just popped up. Okay.
That's bizarre.
I mean, literally, he saw it. I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
He was just watching. And so all those chats. All right. Did just poof. All right, so let me do. Dave asked if I did a restart. We can all come back. No, I did a refresh thing on it. That didn't seem to matter. Chris Henry J. Kaiser marketed a car for Sears and sold it through their stores as the Allstate. Okay, so we're getting caught up. Close the picture. Yeah, it was definitely something on StreamYard's end. Yeah, we're not making fun of you, Nick. Let's see. I did not alter the tab size. Winged Warrior, that's not the color. It says ink chromate primer. Yes. That's what I figured out as well. DP, there you are. Okay. You're back. I can see you. That's, again, these are let me get on down here towards the bottom and see where I get caught up. Okay, seeing photos of Crosley. Yeah, what I was clicking on comments. Well, now they're showing up. I mean, it was just an empty thing on the side of the panel there. So we had Pedro saying Brazil, good vibes. Cool. Glad you're here, Pedro. Broom. I heard that you're going to be banned. Bye-bye. Took care of that. Let's see. If Roger can read them, then you can answer them. Yep. All right. So we're getting close. Jiggle the handle. Nick Mass. Roger Berry, not the team we asked for, but the team we found out we need. Bob, one of the monitors pulled a plug. It could be. Yeah, Marshall turned it off and on again. That's all I got. Okay. Big Tech decided not to censor you. Yeah. Yeah, there you go, Dave. Yeah, that's probably more accurate. Chris, I wonder if it lagged because of the amount of comments at once. No, I've had plenty before. He says, now you have something to read later. We messaged more than ever and you're back out. Blacked out. Okay. It was all due to this car picture. Yeah, the Crossley did me in. All right. And Big King 2003 is Big King Fish 2003 saying hello. Okay. That was weird. Robert, my feed is now lagging way behind. What did you break this time? I didn't break anything. Warren, have a good night. See you next time. Okay. I'm glad you were here. So anyway, I was showing the Crossley earlier. Let's try this one more time. Danger. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. So that was the Crossley that he had bought and then stripped it down. And again, I like this little chassis. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's really basic, but it's not a huge car to begin with. And then of course, there it is in that primer. Okay. Let's go back to comments. Clark is saying still can't see green. Oh, can't see green. You're talking about the green. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Because they're green shirts we talked about before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sitting here looking at them. They are green.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked about it. And since you brought that up, green. It actually looks kind of green today. That's weird. Maybe that fixed it. Now it looks green, doesn't it? Because before it was showing up what, blue?
Just kind of a grayish blue.
Grayish blue. So now look, it's green. Maybe that's what it was. The whole thing was broken because green wasn't working. We'll figure it out now. One man's treasure is the car that broke the chat. Yeah. Bad Harry, sure you're drinking tea. Just close one eye. Everything will come into focus. Yeah. Let's hope so. Wayne Warrior, Ford AC Cobra is 2 parallel tubes. Very interesting chassis as well. Yeah. Wayne Warrior saying the shirt looks green now. It does. Because it was never green before, but this is the shirt. That's the green shirt. Chris, we are the third owner of the Firebird. First to restore, I'm keeping the seats the same. Driver quality 3/4 of the plastic interior parts are fixed. Need a windshield because of a dumb decision. Oh, yeah. I always try to save the windshield. In fact, I cut the windshield out of the Jade Mustang, and I know a lot of people were commenting. They're like, "I wish you could have, shown removing the trim." Well, the trim was already off the car when I got it, so I couldn't do a trim video. Would have been nice, I agree, but it was already off, and I'm not going to put trim on to try to take it back off with old clips, so it wasn't worth it. But one of the things that I thought was pretty neat, and I really can't pull it up and show you, but on the corner of the glass is a little a picture, or not a picture, a set of numbers. And I shared this with Harvey and Winged Warrior in some messaging, that it has a number like, I don't know what it really depicts. See if I can pull it up here. I had taken a picture of it, and it's like, I don't know what the number is. 03 something 31. It's like down in the corner of the glass. And I don't really want to mess this up, but I thought that was kind of neat that there was still some sort of number written on it. And Wayne Warrior had said that the original car would have had a grease pencil marking, and the later one, a replacement one, would have been a paint pen. Well, this is definitely a paint marking on this windshield. But the nice part about it is this is still the factory green tint windshield with the tint band up on top, because this was an AC car. And even if the glass is not 100% perfect, I don't want to replace it. I want to keep that glass. I just think it's cool. I just think it's cool to have that original glass. It may be able to be polished up or something to try to help it, but that's one thing. I like to keep stuff like that. Dave saying, Clark, slap your computer. It might fix it. Oh, you're talking to Clark. Okay. Dave, if I had cars only as big as a Crosley, my garage might just be big enough. Yeah. Good point. Leonard, zinc chromate ain't seen that since the Navy. Yeah. Well, I think they still use it in airlines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still do.
Long Island tea, that would be nice, but no, not going to do that. And not try to keep up with comments and questions. I probably wouldn't last long.
Might be fun to watch.
Might be fun to watch, but I probably wouldn't last long. So Chris is saying, I'll then paint making it true duals on his car. Yeah. Yeah, still T. That is true. It is still T. How's the new air compressor working out? Well, so far, it's working pretty good. It's keeping up with what, I'm using it for. And, Roger says he can't hear it, at least in his living room. I don't know if you hear it in your bedroom or not.
No.
So it's not rattling the neighborhood up very much. So it's been doing good. Rascal's Garage. Hey, did you finally get a beer assistant? I'm moving up. I have a beer assistant. Yeah. Roger is a chat assistant at this point. Chris, I bought a car cover from a buddy with a duster, and it has an aerial hole with a plastic sheave, and it scratched the top of the driver across to the middle. So you're talking about the windshield. Ooh, that's not fun. Rascal's Garage saying cool. Car guy Troy checking in, not a Mustang, but I think my son just scored a VW bus to add to the collection. He's pretty stoked, 17 years old, and he has the sickness. Old cars, no vaccine for them. Yeah. Got a VW bus. What year bus? That's the important question. What year bus? Mason, who's in the shop with you? This is Roger.
Hey, gang.
He lives next door.
I was next door until the whole chat malfunction.
So thankfully, he was able to run over here and assist. Wayne Warrior, I saw it in an MG. I saw it in a MG midget. Oh, you sat. Sorry, I sat in an MG midget once. Way too small. Yeah, they're not very big. Barry Sidekick. Well, in a sense.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see feet or hands or legs or something in some of his videos, and that's usually me.
Yeah, that's usually him. And as I've talked about it before, I had the Junkyard video and stuff like that. I have some footage.
Oh no,
from us racing back in the 90s, and I've got some really good footage, and then I have some questionable footage, but it's pretty cool. I'm going to try to get something together because I found a tape from 95 and a tape from 96. And the tape from 96 has a last race that I did when a guy tried to kill me. But we'll get into that later. And Roger was filming it for me, but he got so excited that we got part of the crash, and then that's it.
Sorry.
But that's okay. I understand because he was concerned that I was injured. So it makes perfect sense. Rascal, hey, we need more thumbs up. Yes, I agree. Dave, Barry, did you see Grease Rookie's parts car? Looks like a great fixer-upper to me. I did see the parts car. We've talked about it. I agree with him. It's a parts car. That car is pretty rough. Now, if it was a V8 car, it had some options to it. But being a 6-cylinder car with nothing really positive, in my opinion, it's a parts car, and that's where it needs to be. It's just as a parts car. I think that's the best choice. Clark, Roger, also known as Dave. Dave Convo, how many windows on that VW bus? More windows equals more money. That is very true. Brendan's Garage checking in from New Zealand. Nice. Glad you're here. Dave Britton, Roger is a good neighbor. I agree. I agree with that. We've lived next to each other how long?
25 years?
Probably. I don't know. When did you move in?
Don't ask difficult questions.
I mean, it had to be like 94, 95, right?
Yeah. I think it was
Well, because we were racing in 95.
Yeah, it would have been
94, 95.
94.
Thanksgiving 94. So it's been 27 years now? 26 and a half.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, 26 years. Okay, yeah. So we've been neighbors for 26 years. And we've done a bunch of stuff. I mean, between racing and then doing different stuff in the garage, you know.
We were actually working on a car for the previous owner of my house and found out it was coming up for sale. So we asked the boss if it was okay if I moved in next door. And she said yes.
Yep. In fact, Roger helped me build this garage.
I did.
Just the two of us. Just the two of us standing up these walls. And that was a challenge. But we did it.
Don't ever want to do it again, but
yeah.
We did it.
Nick, yeah, I saw Grease Rookie's parts car and it kind of looked respectable, but always can't see the full story through a screen. Yeah. And being a Rust Belt Mustang, really, I looked at it and I knew exactly when he started pointing at the frame and different things that you wouldn't be saving much from that car. And again, it's a 6-cylinder car. So is it worth it? Probably not. Mason, I'm out in the shop garage with my grandpa. Him and I are cleaning the inside of the hardtop convertible right now. We're back in the carpet and it's dark outside. Okay. Brendan had a great day on Sunday. A lot of Mustangs on our picnic event. Cool. Hope you made a video. That would be nice. Chris, plastic sheath. I learned my lesson. Always something I know what's next. $275 for a windshield. Not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. Nick, my neighbors just tell me I'm number one all the time. Sometimes two. Okay. Well, really with us, our houses are not like up on top of each other. And the guy on the other side, I've had 4 different neighbors over there, I think. And so we've got another new guy. And, he's probably in his mid-late 30s, I would guess.
Yeah, I would guess.
And whenever I pulled Jade out of the back garage and pulled it around to the front, I was revving it up and really enjoying the loudness of it. He came over and I saw him in his backyard looking through his, past the fence. And he was just kind of like, ooh, what's that? And so we talked about it later. I say, sorry if I made too much noise. He's like, oh, no. I love the sound of American muscle cars. I'm like, okay, we're good to go. Okay, so Leonard saying Brendan did do a video, or Brendan, a video on the Mustang meet. So I'll have to check that out. Chris, Roger probably has minor cam complaints. I don't think so. Robert, I meant to tell Grease Rookie that I would rebuild that car. Well, you might want to look at it a little bit closer, because he and I talked about it a little more on the phone. You might want to look at it a little bit closer, because there's a line you need to draw somewhere in the sand that says this one's not worth the time and money. Granted, they don't make them anymore. I mean, they still make all the parts, but I'm going to want to throw the money into a V8 car that's maybe has some issues versus a 6-cylinder car that has tons and tons of issues. His car is a 6-cylinder, but it's relatively solid overall, which makes it a great car to build. But whenever you start to throw in, that car is going to need frame rails, floor pans, who knows what else. It just escalates really fast. Car guy Troy, VW bus is a 73, bay window bus, light blue with a white top, not all rusted out, which is amazing to me. Needs an engine, body, glass, seats, look good. All there other than the motor. Pretty cool. That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, it does.
That sounds like a good deal. I don't know what he paid for it, but it sounds like a good candidate. Harvey, good afternoon to Brendan. Hope you and the new Mustang are doing well. Robert, I didn't say I would use the whole car to rebuild from, though, i.e. fastback new build. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, yeah. I mean, it gets a little complicated, I think, with what he's got going on right now. But I understand what you're saying. Raleigh Harvey, I think Brendan is enjoying the summer weather in New Zealand. I don't blame him. I would be too. Andrew, I struggle with what to do with the car. The patina is growing on me, but I would take some serious cash to get it back on the road. Yeah, I agree. Looking at garages, how high do you need to be to install a lift? Well, the technical height for this garage, if I remember correctly, is like, what was it, 10, 11 feet 8 inches, I think, or 11 foot 6, something like that. Because the walls, my walls are 10 foot, but I have a 6-inch curb at the base. So 10-foot studs, but you have a base plate and a double cap. So that's 3, 4.5 plus 6. So really about 11 feet is what I have. And then I have a 2-post lift without the overhead trolley system. It's all on the floor. So I'm using about 11 feet. But I would, if you can go 12, you're better off. Because I'm with cars, it's pretty easy. With trucks, I run out of room. Let's see. Andy, I've heard you mention original tooling panels in your videos. Who do you purchase original tooling panels from? Well, the ones I was buying was from Mustangs Unlimited. And the only original panel I could get was the tail panel. So I don't know what other options are out there. I know a 68 that I helped build a fastback years ago, he had bought original tooling fenders, and it was on, well, I don't have a full picture, but of this car. So the 68 drag car, he bought original tooling fenders for that car, and they fit really nice. And that was a 68, though. So I don't know what's really available overall for original tooling stuff. Let's see. Whoops. Where am I at? It kind of skipped ahead of me on a little bit. Okay, so Mason sometimes goes over to his neighbor's house, check his shop out. Dave Britton, my problem is I want to save them all. Yeah, believe me, I have that problem. And it's really tough to look at something anymore and go, is it worth it? That's the bigger debate. That becomes difficult. It's just like right behind me, maybe even not even 1,000 feet, behind me in the next neighborhood is a 60. I want to say it's a 66 coupe V8 car that has been sitting there. It's got to be 20 years. That it's just been sitting there. And I drive by it occasionally. I look at it. All 4 tires are flat. In fact, I went over when nobody was around one day, and I took pictures of the fender emblems so that I could locate them on one of my other cars and get them in the right place. I took measurements. Nobody was home. I just figured if they come out and yell at me, well, we'll figure it out. But I've talked to them one time, and I said, hey, you want to do something with this car? And I said, no, we're going to fix it up one day. Well, it's rotting away. It's just rotting away. So it's irritating. Chris, some cars are sentimental. Nick's garage has a 68 Cougar V8 guy, owned it, stored it 25 years, completely rusted out. Yep. Try to find a solid Montego or Torino chassis. Okay. Mason, I'll send you a picture of his shop. He let me take a picture of his shop garage. He's also got a classic truck, 67 Mustang or 67 Chevy C10 4-speed manual, dual Flowmaster, Super 40s, kind of loud. Sounds cool.
It does.
Okay. So All right. So I had another email telling me I was still on from Clark. Eric, I just subbed. I'm a muscle car fanatic since the 80s when I was 17. Cool. I was 17 in 84. So we're probably about the same age. Grease Rookie, Andrew, the car definitely looks better in the video than, I guess, in person, actually. I almost fell through the floor when I stepped into it. The driver door is obviously left open for years. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, until you really start looking at something, I could tell as soon as you looked at the frame, you did an undershot of it, and I was like, ugh, it's all going to crumble in your hands when you start squeezing on the frame rail. Eric, does anyone nowadays have a pit in the garage to work underneath? Good question. I don't. I haven't seen anybody have a pit for quite some time. So you're talking about like getting underneath to change oil and stuff like that, or work on a transmission. I have not seen one in a long time. Chris, 4-post versus 2-post for storage. 4-post. Do the 4-post. You'll be happier. The 2-post is nice, but if you're going to be storing a car up there, you're going to be putting it on frame rails. You'd feel better about it having it sitting on all 4 tires. So put in the 4-post lift, drive it on. It's sitting up nice and easy, and it's fairly easy to get another car underneath because the 2-post, you pull a car underneath it and you have trouble getting the door open. Whereas the 4-post, you should be able to swing the doors without any issue. Nick, get a mid-rise lift and roll under that sucker on a seat. That's what I'm aiming for after I work for months on end for my engine. Good idea. Yeah, Eric is saying underneath. All right. So let's, yeah, I think I'll just get rid of that one. Dave, I think I was traumatized seeing all the tears of oil coming out of the crusher when I was a kid. I need help. Yeah. Yep. Leonard, Chris, it might be a long drive, but Dan's Auto Salvage. Okay, so there you go. That's a comment to Chris. Rudy, I have a fastback with no floor. The frames are almost cut out. How much work am I looking at? I know I need rear rails and torque boxes. Do I need a jig? I should cut the roof and throw it on a coupe. Well, I don't like the idea of doing that. No floors. The frames are almost. I would get a one-piece pan. Start with a one-piece pan from Dynacorn and go up from there. Try to save whatever you can of that fastback, and then start with a one-piece pan, and they're pretty well built, and then go up. It's not hard to put a one-piece pan in. It's really not. Beth, not a really classic, but I have a question about a 99 Aurora with a North Star engine. You can ask it. I can't say we'll have an answer, but you can ask it. Somebody else on here may. I'm not going to have an answer for it probably. Let's see. Beth, you have a problem with the engine mount. Okay. I don't know. I don't know how those are. I assume they just have regular style engine mounts. I don't know. Anybody have any input for Beth on the engine mounts on a North Star engine?
I don't.
Mike's Mustang. What's the best way to kill surface rust on floor pan? After cleaning with 80 grit, I tried to use etching primer without top coat, but it's bleeding back through a little. Yeah. Normally, I mean, I guess, assuming it was a decent floor pan to start with, there's various things out there. I've used navel jelly before. I've used stuff from, what was the other brand? I don't even know if I have it up here. No, I don't have it. I don't know. It's sitting here. But there's stuff out there that is, an acid that you have to rinse out with water and then dry it and then immediately spray it with epoxy. Because using etching primer, that's different. That's not meant to stop rust. That's really meant to just etch to the bare metal for further, layers. But the epoxy, once you get everything, all the rust out of it and it's treated, then the epoxy is the way to go. So it made that maybe the etching primer wasn't suitable for what you were trying to do with it. Bill, not positive. I think Dan Carpenter has a lot of factory tooling parts. They're wholesale only, but they have a list of their retailers. Well, thank you, Bill. I did not know that myself, but that would be awesome. That would be awesome to know that. All right, Leonard. Nice having you here as usual. We'll see you next week. Chris Greenaway, I want John Carpenter's 440 Black Cuda. That's a different Carpenter, but okay. Robert, NPD bought the last of the factory tooling parts when the company running the dies shut down production as it wasn't profitable anymore compared to other jobs they do. I did not know that. Good information. 64 and a half Stang. Hey, have most luck with Dynaquan products fitting on my 65 Mustang. Has any other aftermarket parts work better for you? Not really. I mean, Dynaquan is probably going to be your best choice. Eric, my hometown was a muscle car town. Drag races every Sunday evening outside of town in summertime on a old country road outside of town. That sounds cool. Don't see that happen very much anymore. Harvey. I don't know who you're responding to. It says Rudy. You can do the rails and torque boxes if you can level the car, do one side at a time, and cut out blocks to maintain proper height on critical areas. So there's another good piece of advice. And he also says, or the one-piece pan. And to me, I just like the one-piece pan because I'm not dealing with anything rusty. I'm just done with it. Cut out the bad stuff, slip in that new piece, weld it in, and then you're good to go. Rudy, what year is your fastback? Dave is asking. Beth, I'm trying to replace the serpentine belt. Engine mount is in the way. Oh, that doesn't sound fun at all. Normally, on something like that, you're going to have to get the engine mount out of the way. I mean, there's really if it's around the engine mount, you don't have a choice. So I'm assuming that it goes at least under or something the engine mount itself. I remember my brother has one of those engines. I think he put it in a motorcycle that he built, a trike. So I'm trying to remember what I've seen of that because he customized everything for that. But if the motor mount is in the way, normally what you would do, at a repair shop, they're going to take an engine cradle and put it on the top inner structure of the car and lift the engine up slightly to relieve tension on the mount so that you can take the bolts out of the way and get the, mount off the car. I think you can rent those cradles from your local parts store. But that's about as much as I can tell you on that. Once that mount's out of the way, then obviously you can probably get to the motor mount or get to the belt. But that's probably the only advice I have for you. So if anybody else has any, by all means, let us know. Mike's Mustang saying floor pans, okay, not that bad. Mason, are 327 good motors? I guess they seem to be, decent. I can't really say one way or the other if they run. Bet Harry, Mike is saying, Mike used rust converter. Yep. Chris, do you think these car companies might redo some classics during their 100th year? I'd be 6970, but LOL, we can dream. Well, I don't think they ever redid the Model A, and it's going on 100, getting close to 100 years. The Model A itself was built in 28. So if they're going to start redoing the Model Ts, we'll have to wait and see. Beth, if anybody has tips, it'd be greatly appreciated. I need to get another inch. I can't seem to move the engine anymore, and I can't get the engine mount out. Okay. Well, I don't know if you tried it or not, but that cradle deal, like I said, it sits on top of the inner fender structure, and it's got like if I remember, it's got like a kind of like a screw system, a crank or something that will help pull the engine up. So maybe have a look at that. Mike's Mustang, you're welcome. Dave Conville, rust converter for Mike's purpose may not be the right fix, but it might be the right fix for now. That is true. Winged Warrior, surface rust. My favorite is Eastwood Fast Etch. Can sit for years after that if kept dry. Once to bare metal, apply, and can even let dry. Okay. Well, that may work. Garth. Hey, I'm doing a 68 coupe and I need some advice on torque boxes. If you bought the one piece or the two pieces welded together, drill holes in them and take them apart. That's my first piece of advice. Or buy the two-piece deal. I actually have videos on this car that's sitting behind me, Jade. So look up the Jade playlist. It's probably the first, second, or third video in the series of putting in torque boxes in this 68 coupe that's sitting right behind me. So that may answer your questions. Car Guy Troy, phosphoric acid for the surface rust on the floor. Buy it at Home Depot, cheap, and the same stuff that's in vinegar, navel gel, etc. So there you go. Mason, one of my friends, has a 65 Chevy El Camino 327 303 column shift. That's an oddball. You don't see that very often. Column shift anymore. Let's see. Rudy T saying, telling Dave it's a 65. Nick saying 327 is a great motor. Okay. I think I have a 327 block and head sitting outside my garage right now if anybody wants some. 64.5 Stang. Shout out to Internal Craftsman. Decided on replacing door skins after watching his video. Cool. Good deal. Little Chief, can I get high horsepower out of my 396 big block? I would hope so. I can't tell you all the steps to get there, but compression is going to be a big thing. Is it what generation of 396 is it? Some older ones were built for more power, so you can do it. You may have to look at getting the better heads for it. I don't have a quick answer, easy answer for you, but it's all about airflow, camshaft, pistons, compression. So it can be done. Winged Warrior, Car Guy Troy, Eastwood Fast Etch is phosphoric acid based as well. Like the phosphor coating, he likes the phosphor coating it leaves. Do have to prep it before paint, however, as epoxy will not cure right directly over it. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Dynacorn is great, but when people don't ship them quarters, body parts, etc. for other builds, I love 72 Montego GTs. No body parts. Yep. Well, we've talked about that before. Winged Warrior, they did redo the Model A already. Oh, they did? What was it? I didn't see one of those. Bad Harry is saying, Rudy T, spend the money on a one-piece floor a lot easier than a roof swap, or just call me, I will take it. LOL, fastbacks are getting harder and harder to find. Good point. Eric, Joe Daddy, is GM still trying to buy Ford? I have no idea. I doubt that'll ever happen. I've never heard that rumor. Dave, could Beth use a floor jack with a board cushion under the engine possibly? That is what I've done in the past for Honda Civics. That is a possibility. I don't know what she's tried so far. I have done that as well, taken a 2x6 or 2x8, put it under the oil pan, make sure it goes to the perimeter of the pan, not just a little chunk, try to get it to the edges and gently jack it up. I don't know if she's tried that, but that is a good suggestion, Dave. Dennis Paulson. Hey, Mary, and all late getting, but I will read all that has happened. Well, it turned into quite a mess about halfway through the show. I lost all my comments and I couldn't comment on anything. Winged Warrior 1980 Harry Shea Model A production. Yeah, that's not the same. That's not the same. It's got to be in the time, right? 100 years. That was only 60 years. So that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Let's see. Harry Cart, GM has been trying to buy Ford since the late 1800s and so on. I've never heard that before, but I'll take your word for it. Rudy, Bad Harry Hideaway, I'm in California if you're interested. Well, Bad Harry's probably interested. I would say he's probably interested. Chris is saying you get 500 horsepower out of a 396. Probably so. Dave, was a North Star GM's attempt at modular engines where you had to lift the chassis and body up off the drivetrain, leave the entire drivetrain on the ground, lift the car up and away. That's a good point. I've done work on cars at the body shop where we had to take the whole cradle out to work on stuff. We had to take the whole engine assembly, everything, drop it out on the cradle. I don't know if that's what they did, in that attempt or not. I don't know. You're welcome, little chief. Ken Cups. I'm not sure what you're asking, Dylan. Can cops see if you have a roadworthy by a license plate check? I assume so. I don't know what state and what their laws are for where you live. David and Cheryl, chat with everyone Thursday. Hope everyone stays safe and healthy. Good night. Yes, thank you. Mike's Mustang. How much you take for the 351 if Windsor and 327? Well, that's a good question. Send me an email. And we can talk about it. Because I don't really have much to do with the 351. And I don't have a use for it. And the 327, I don't have a use for it either. In fact, the 327, I think it was out of a 60, I want to say 66, like Chevy 2 or something, if my numbers are correct. So we could probably verify that and go from there. I can get you the numbers on it. We'll see what it says. I've got a couple more pictures here from John on the Crosley. Did I say John? Yeah, John. And you're using Squeegs Customs Coatings Epoxy Primer Filler Kits. I won't be able to share that, but I'm going to show you the picture. That's his Crosley frame that we talked about earlier. And then this is the engine. That looks nice. That's nicely done. Cool little engine. Okay. Get back up here and get caught on comments. Robert's having lots of lag on his end. Reloading isn't helping. Not everyone. Thank you, Robert, for being here. Appreciate it. Mason, my grandpa old truck, he used to have a 383 stroker in it and had a shift kit in as well. It was also really fast. Yeah. Well, I've got a 383 stroker sitting over here on the other side of the Mustang. It needs to go too. I don't have much use for it. Chris Greenaway, port heads, bore it out 30 over, stroke it, carb it away, and you go and away you go. Remember, if you are after a monster 396, you will totally have to redo the whole drivetrain to support the torque and horsepower. Yeah, good point. Good point. Eric, I'm out. Need food from Quick Trip. I'm hungry. Great show. I'm glad you were here. You can pull this off. So Roger's getting to see what I try to go through with all this happening at the same time. Chris, Ford released some 66 or 65 fastbacks not too long ago. Yeah, there was some conversation on that. Bad Harry Rudy T is a little far away. A 41-hour drive. Yeah. Let's see. A 350, I'm guessing one. Cleveland is better in my opinion, unless you were doing the clever head conversion. Okay, a 351. Nick, Anybody want a fairly fresh 289 around St. Louis? I don't think it even had 5,000 miles on it. Sorry, everyone keeps talking about motors, and I just remembered I need to get that one out of my garage. I'm sure somebody wants it. Mason, no, that was a viewer shared some pictures with me of the Crosley. David Baldino. Hi, Bear. Hope things are well. Happy birthday to Carol Shelby, born this date in 1923. Wow. I did not know that. So we're not going to sing happy birthday, but happy birthday to Carol Shelby. A lot of us have obviously been inspired by the vision that Carol Shelby had with Mustangs and Cobras and all the stuff he built down the line. So, yes. Okay. I think we're coming to an end. It's been 2 hours, 11 minutes. We have 85 viewing. And that's a good number still, but it's going down, and we need to probably call it quits. No, Mason, I have not started painting Jade yet. As you can see, it's still behind me. All right. So with that said, we'll be back on Thursday at 3 in the afternoon. Hopefully I have another video out before then. I plan to, and it'll be dealing with the dash and the AC box and stuff like that I need to get in the car. So I hope you all have a good week, and I hope things improve in 2021. It's looking a little sketchy, but I hope it improves. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.